Imagine for a moment that every war you fought inside yourself as a man, every jagged fear that keeps you up at night, every splinter of doubt that cuts at your pride, every time you felt like less than the man you're supposed to be, isn't just a chain to break or a ghost to banish. What if, instead, these battles are a map, scratched into the bedrock of your being, pointing you straight to the purpose you were born to claim? Picture this, brother. The key to knowing who you are, deep in your bones, and what you're built to do, doesn't lie in the polished trophies you stack on the shelf or the steady front you show the world. No, it's buried in the rough, shadowed corners of your soul, the places you've spent years trying to wall off, ignore, or drown out with noise. Today, we're cracking open one of the most earth-shaking, soul-rattling ideas ever forged in the crucible of psychology and philosophy: Carl Jung's theory of the shadow. This isn't some dry lecture hall bullshit or a soft, feel-good pep talk. It's a gritty, transformative truth that can flip a man's life upside down and set him on a path of fire and meaning. By the time we're through this, you won't just get your shadow. You'll see how it's been holding the keys to your purpose, your untamed strength, and the freedom to stand tall as the man you were always meant to be. And stick with me, because the final revelation we're building toward might just be the most powerful, life-altering gut punch you'll ever take. Carl Jung, a renegade thinker who dove headfirst into the abyss of the human psyche, believed the shadow is the unseen, untamed underbelly of a man's soul. It's the parts of yourself you shove into the dark, the anger you choke down until your knuckles whiten, the vulnerability you armor up against with a scowl, the wild, primal urges you've convinced yourself no real man should ever let loose. These are the traits, desires, and shards of your nature you've branded as shameful, weak, or outright dangerous. Maybe it's the world's rules that did it. Society telling you to man up, shut up, and keep it together. Maybe it's your old man's voice echoing in your skull, barking that real men don't bend, don't feel, don't falter. Or maybe it's your own ironclad pride, forged in the heat of 1,000 quiet failures, that's kept these pieces locked away. But here's where Jung drops the hammer. This shadow, the very thing you've cast as your enemy, isn't just a pit of chaos or a stain to scrub clean. It's a roaring furnace of your greatest strengths and the raw blueprint for a life that hits like a thunderclap. Think about it, man. How often do you shove aside thoughts or feelings because they don't fit the mold of the tough, unshakable guy you're supposed to be? How many times have you caught yourself sizing up another man, his cocky strut, his spineless retreat, his reckless edge, only to feel a flicker of something familiar, something you'd rather bury than face? Jung laid it out cold. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Your shadow isn't just a mess of flaws, it's potential, restless and coiled, energy you've caged up because you're too damn scared or ashamed to let it run free. Take a hard look at your own life right now. Are there pieces of yourself you keep chained up, out of sight from the world? Maybe even from your own mirror? Maybe it's a fear of falling short, a gnawing dread that you're not man enough, not strong enough, not enough to hold your ground in a world that never stops testing you. Or maybe it's a rage you've tamped down so long it's turned into a low, constant hum, a beast pacing in the dark. Could be a quiet hunger for something more, a dream, a passion, a shot at something bigger that you've told yourself is impractical, soft, or unworthy of a man's time and sweat. What if these weren't cracks in your foundation to patch over, but signals carved into your core, waiting for you to stop running and start listening? Jung taught that by squaring up to this shadow, a man can weave it into his conscious self, stepping onto the path of what he called individuation, the long, hard road to becoming whole. This isn't some quick fix or a cheap self-help trick. It takes balls, a willingness to stare into the void, and the grit to march through the unknown with your head up. But the payoff? It's beyond measure. A life of depth that echoes in your chest, authenticity that no one can strip away, and a purpose that stands like a mountain against the wind. Jung saw individuation as a man's epic quest to uncover his true self, not just the chiseled mask he wears for the crowd, the steady hand he offers his family, or the warrior he plays on the battlefield of life. It's the full, unfiltered soul that fuses light and shadow into something real, something unbreakable. He argued that a man's greatest growth doesn't come from pretending his darker side's a myth, from polishing his armor till it blinds the world to his scars. No, it comes from grabbing that darkness by the throat, looking it dead in the eye, and claiming it as part of the man you are. Think of the heroes carved into legend. Hercules, wrestling not just lions and hydras, but his own uncontrollable fury, a rage that both made him and broke him. Or Odysseus, battling storms and cyclopes outside while wrestling guilt, longing, and the weight of his own choices within. These aren't just bedtime stories. They're mirrors of a man's inner war, the fight every one of us faces when the night gets quiet and the masks slip off. So here's the gut check, brother. Are you ready to stop dodging the parts of yourself you've run from? Are you man enough to plant your feet, face the shadow, and ask, what the hell are you here to show me? Your shadow doesn't play nice. It roars through your restless nights, your clenched fists, and the people who light a fire under your ass. Ever had a dream that left you sweating? A brawl where you're swinging wild? A fall that jerks you awake? A chase through shadows you can't outrun? Or maybe you felt a pull towards something you can't name, a call from the wild, that itch in your gut that won't quit? That's your shadow, pounding on the bars. The work starts with paying attention. Zero in on the moments your emotions hit like a tidal wave, when your temper flares like a match in dry grass, when your chest tightens and you don't know why. Those oversized reactions are flares in the dark, lighting up what you've buried deep. Next comes the hard part, acceptance. Not unleashing every wild impulse like some reckless kid, but owning these pieces without flinching, seeing them as threads in the fabric of the man you are. Picture the weight sliding off your shoulders when you stop fearing your flaws and start wielding them like a blade, forged in fire and ready for the fight. In the sections ahead, we'll dig into the meat of it. How to spot your shadow in the chaos of your days, how to wrestle it into the light, and how it can guide you to a purpose that doesn't buckle. The heaviest truth is still coming. Stay with me, because this trek into your inner wilds is about to crack open the potential roaring beneath your skin, a force you didn't even know you had. Let's plunge deeper into the untamed jungle of a man's shadow and unpack how facing this hidden beast can unlock not just your purpose, but a rock-solid peace that no storm can shake loose. Your shadow doesn't sit quiet. It prowls through the grit of your daily grind, showing up in the way you grit your teeth when some jackass cuts you off in traffic, or the silence you retreat into when you're bleeding inside but too proud to speak. It's in your relationships, too, those moments you snap like a dry branch or pull back into yourself without a word, leaving everyone wondering what the hell just happened. Ever blown your stack at someone, a buddy, a woman, a stranger, and later stood there staring at the wreckage, thinking, where'd that come from? That's your shadow breaking loose, raw and unscripted, a piece of you you didn't even know was loaded and ready to fire. Why does it hit so hard, like a sucker punch you never saw coming. Jung said it's because it's unconscious. The more you deny it, shove it down, or pretend it's not there, the more it owns you. It's like wrestling a grizzly in the pitch black. The harder you fight to pin it, the wilder it gets when it finally breaks free and sinks its teeth in. But what if you flipped the switch, turned on the light, and squared up to it? What if you learned its moves, its rhythm, its growl? How much stronger would you stand, man? How much freer would you feel with that weight off your back? Jung called this projection. When a man disowns his own nature, he spots it in others and reacts like they've jammed a knife in his ribs. If you can't stand a guy who struts around like he owns the damn world, maybe it's because you've gagged your own confidence, afraid it'll make you look like an asshole or get you knocked down a peg. If you sneer at a man who bends too easy, who won't stand his ground, it might echo a softness you've buried under layers of steel, a tenderness you've convinced yourself no man should carry. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people, Jung wrote. And he wasn't kidding. So think hard. Who gets under your skin and sets your blood boiling? That loudmouth at work who never shuts up? The buddy who always folds when the heat's on? The old man who still talks to you like you're a kid who can't find his own ass? Don't just stew in it. Don't just clench your fists and let it fester. Ask yourself, what's this kicking up in me? What piece of my shadow am I throwing onto them like a cheap coat of paint? This isn't about guilt or beating yourself bloody over it. It's about digging for the truth, striking gold in the muck of your own soul. Now, let's tie this to a man's purpose, because that's where the rubber meets the road. The parts of yourself you've locked in the basement, chained up and forgotten, are often the keepers of your truest fire, the embers that could light up your whole damn life. A man who smothers his restlessness, who tells himself to sit still and play it safe, might find it's the spark for breaking trails, for leading men into the unknown, for carving out a legacy that doesn't fade. One who hides his need to feel, who buries it under a stoic mask because men don't cry, could discover it's his strength to rally others, to mend what's broken, to stand as a rock when the world's falling apart. Jung said purpose isn't some shiny prize you chase out there in the distance, some golden fleece dangling just out of reach. It's forged in the furnace of your soul, by lining up with the real you, shadow and all. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, he wrote, and that's not just poetry. It's a call to arms. Start asking the hard questions, the ones that cut deep. What scares me most about myself? What keeps me staring at the ceiling when the house is quiet? What have I been told a man can't be, can't feel, can't want? What dreams have I let rot in the corner because they didn't fit the script of the tough guy, the provider, the soldier? Grab a pen, scratch it out, chew on it. Your shadow's got a voice, and it's been screaming for you to listen. Jung leaned heavy on dreams and journals, to wrestle with the unconscious, to drag it kicking and screaming into the light. That nightmare where you're swinging fists at shadows, or running from something you can't see, or standing alone on a battlefield with no one left to fight. Don't just shake it off. Write it down. Every bloody detail. What keeps circling back, night after night? What's it begging you to face? Picture a man who builds a house but skips the foundation. It might stand for a season, but the first hard wind'll knock it flat. Integrate your shadow, and you're a builder with the full kit. Light and dark, strength and scars, hope and rage. Crafting a life with weight, with fire, with roots that don't budge. This isn't a one-round brawl, some quick knockout to call it a day. It's a lifelong hunt, a chase through the wilds of your own soul. But every step you take, every piece you claim, brings clarity, a steady calm that settles in your chest, and a shot at living real, not just playing the part. Next, we'll get into the nuts and bolts. How to drag your shadow into the chaos of your days, how to sharpen your bonds with the men and women around you, how to light up your purpose like a beacon in the dark. The deepest cut still ahead. Stay in the ring, brother, because your shadow's about to hand you the keys to your destiny, and they're heavier than you think. As we push further into Jung's rugged, untamed philosophy, let's get practical about living this out as a man, about taking this high-minded shit and grounding it in the dirt and sweat of your everyday life. Spotting your shadow is the first move. It's the reconnaissance, the scouting run. But integration is where you take that wild, untamed energy and hammer it into your spine, where you make it part of the man you are when the sun's up and the world's watching. Start with brutal, no-filter honesty, the kind that stings like a slap to the face. Look yourself dead in the eye. Strip away the excuses, the half-truths, the stories you tell yourself to sleep at night, and own it. Yeah, I've got envy clawing at my gut when I see another man winning. Yeah, I measure myself against every bastard who walks by and come up short in my own head. Yeah, I've got a temper that could burn a house down if I let it loose. This isn't about wallowing in the mud or flogging yourself till you bleed. It's about seeing the mess clear, about knowing what you're working with. Like walking into a garage piled high with junk, rusted tools, broken parts, shit you forgot you even owned. You can't build a damn thing till you take stock of what's there, till you stop pretending it's all clean and tidy. Watch your triggers like a hawk. Next time your blood's up, your fists clench, or your chest tightens like a vice, hit the brakes and breathe. Why is this hitting me like a goddamn freight train? What's this dragging up from the deep? Some guy's cocky grin gets you fuming, makes you want to wipe it off his face. Maybe it's not him, but the swagger you've choked down, scared it'll make you look like a fool or get you knocked flat. Or if you're drawn to a man who's got his shit locked tight, who walks through life like he's bulletproof, could be your shadow craving that same iron, that same unshakable core you've told yourself you'll never have. It's a gut punch at first, fighting the urge to point fingers and blame the world, him, them, anyone but you. But this isn't about blame, man. It's about mapping your own ground, about drawing the lines of your own battlefield so you know where you stand. Once you've pinned down a shadow trait, anger, fear, longing, whatever it is, talk to it. Yeah, you heard me. Talk to it. Jung had his patients treat it like a living thing, a sparring partner, and it sounds nuts till you try it. Grab a notebook, growl it out loud, stare into the dark and ask, "What's your deal? What are you shielding me from? What do you need from me to stop tearing me apart?" Give it space, let it breathe. It's been caged up too long, pacing and snarling, and it's got shit to say. This bleeds into your relationships, into the way you move through the world with the people who matter, or the ones who drive you up the wall. Ever notice the same damn fights cropping up? The same women who light your fuse, the same brothers who push you to the edge? That's your shadow stepping into the ring, throwing punches you didn't even know you had in you. Jung said people mirror what's unresolved in us. They hold up a cracked, dirty glass and show us the parts we've refused to see. When you're triggered, when your woman's words cut too deep, when your buddy's laziness makes you want to deck him, when your old man's judgment lands like a brick, don't just swing. Don't just retreat into that cold, hard silence. Ask, what's this showing me? What piece of my own mess am I seeing in them? Turn the clash into fuel, and you'll find patience where you used to find fists, respect where you used to find contempt, maybe even a bond where there was only a wall. And here's the gold, the real treasure in the dirt. Your shadow's a forge for creativity and purpose, a fire you can stoke into something fierce. That bottled-up rage you've carried like a stone in your gut could drive you to tear down walls, to build something that lasts, to fight for something bigger than yourself. That quiet ache for more, that longing you've drowned in beer or buried in work, might push you to lead men, to create something raw and real, to leave a mark that doesn't fade. Look at men like Hemingway. His shadow bled into every rough-edged word, every story of blood and guts and broken hearts. Or think of Bruce Lee, channeling his fury and his hunger into a force that rewrote the rules. What have you shoved aside, man? What's clawing to break free, to roar through your life and set it ablaze? As we barrel toward the end of this journey, here's the deepest truth I can lay on you, the one that's been building like a storm on the horizon. Integrating your shadow doesn't just make you a stronger man. It ripples out, it shakes the ground under everyone around you. Jung saw it as a spark in the collective soul, a thread in the tapestry of what it means to be human. Face your dark, wrestle it into the light, and you don't just heal yourself, you light a fire that others can see, that others can feel. The final blow's coming. Brace yourself, brother, because it's about to tie this whole damn thing together and shove you toward the man you were built to be. The man the world's been waiting for. We've reached the end of this long, wild haul, so let's sit with what we've dug up. Let's weigh it in our hands and feel its heft. Your shadow, that rough, untamed edge of you, that beast you've kept chained in the dark, ain't a flaw to fix, a burden to shrug off, or a demon to exorcise. It's a blade to sharpen, a tool to wield, a fire to stoke. Wholeness, Jung said, isn't about picking the good parts of yourself and tossing the rest. It's about forging them all into one, about standing as a man who's light and dark, strength and scars, pride and pain all at once. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious, he wrote. And that's the raw, unvarnished truth of it. That's the play, the mission, the fight. Own it, wield it, grow from it. Be real. Drop the mask with your crew, with your woman, with the man in the mirror. Say it out loud, let it ring. This is me, scars and all, blood and bone. That's not weakness, brother, that's steel. That's a spine forged in fire. Purpose? It's not some treasure hunt out there in the wild, some golden ring dangling just beyond your reach. It's the man you become when you stop warring with yourself, when you stop splitting your soul in two and start living as one. That rage you've hauled around like a dead weight could fuel a revolution, could tear down what's rotten and build something true. That doubt you've drowned in silence, in whiskey, in the grind, might lift others up, might show them the way when they're lost. And here's the big one, the truth that hits like a hammer on an anvil. When you tame your shadow, when you bring it into the fold, you don't just win your own fight. You shift the world. Jung believed a man who knows his dark, who's faced it and made it his own, doesn't flinch at the darkness in others. He sees it, he gets it. He meets it with a steady eye and an open hand. Imagine that spreading. Imagine a world with less bullshit posturing, less finger-pointing, more truth, more men standing tall in their own skin. That's the power of this work. The ripple that starts with you and crashes outward. So, here's your challenge, your call to arms. Look within, not just at the parts you're proud of, the wins you can hang on the wall, but at the parts you've hidden away, the parts you've locked in the dark. Ask yourself, what's my shadow roaring at me? What's it been trying to teach me all these years? How do I take its lessons, its fury, its fear, its fire, and wield them to live real, to live deep? What step can I take today? Right now, not tomorrow, to start this journey, to claim this ground. This ain't a one-and-done deal, some quick fix to check off the list. It's a lifelong hunt, a forging process that never stops. But every step you take, every piece you pull into the light, brings you closer to the man you're meant to be. A man of depth, of purpose, of wholeness that no one can shake. As we close this out, I'm throwing it back to you. What's this cracked open in your head? What's resonating? What's stirring? What's calling you to move? Share it. Spit it out. Your fire might just light someone else's, might just spark the next man to step into his own wilds. This isn't the end, brother. It's the forge, the starting line. The moment you pick up the hammer and start shaping the life you were built to live. Let's hear it. What's your shadow saying?